You wake up and for about 3 seconds, you have it. The dream is right there, vivid, strange, completely real feeling. You can almost touch it. Then it's gone. Not faded, not blurry. Gone. Like someone reached into your head and deleted a file while you were looking at it. And no matter how hard you try to grab it back, the harder you try, the faster it disappears. This happens to almost every human alive, almost every single morning. And for most of history, nobody could explain it. Dreams felt too real to be random noise, but too slippery to be actual memory. People invented myths around them, religions around them, entire systems of interpretation around them, specifically because the content was so vivid and yet so impossible to hold on to. The science behind why this happens is one of the strangest stories in neuroscience. And once you understand it, you will never look at your morning routine the same way again. First, let's establish something that most people don't realize. You are almost certainly dreaming far more than you think you are. Most people assume they dream occasionally, a few times a week maybe. The reality is that the average person dreams for somewhere between 1.5 to 2 hours every single night. That's across multiple dream episodes, each one potentially as vivid and detailed as the last. You are not missing the occasional dream. You are forgetting the equivalent of a full-length film every single night before you've even had coffee. So the question isn't why you sometimes forget a dream. The question is why you forget almost all of them, almost every time, no matter how intense the experience was while it was happening. The answer starts with where dreams actually come from. Most vivid dreaming happens during a stage of sleep called REM, rapid eye movement sleep. During REM, your brain is doing something genuinely strange. It is highly active, almost as active as it is when you're fully awake. Your eyes are moving rapidly beneath your closed eyelids. Your heart rate fluctuates, your breathing becomes irregular, and your brain is generating experiences, images, sounds, sensations, emotions, entire scenarios playing out with you as the main character. But here is the critical part. During REM sleep, your brain suppresses the production of 2 key chemicals, norepinephrine and serotonin. These aren't minor players. Norepinephrine in particular is deeply involved in the process of encoding new memories, taking an experience and stamping it into long-term storage. Without it, experiences can feel completely real in the moment, but leave almost no trace behind. Think of it this way. Normally, when something happens to you while you're awake, your brain is running a recording system in the background. The hippocampus, the brain structure most critical for forming new memories, is actively tagging experiences, connecting them to context, and filing them away. That system runs on specific neurochemicals. During REM sleep, those chemicals are deliberately dialed down. Your brain is generating a vivid experience while simultaneously suppressing the very mechanism that would allow you to remember it. You are watching the movie with no way to record it. This is not an accident or a flaw. Researchers believe the suppression of these chemicals during REM serves a function. It may be part of why dreaming helps process emotional memories without reinforcing the raw emotional distress attached to them. Your brain can work through emotionally loaded material from the day in a kind of chemically dampened environment, which may be part of why sleep helps regulate mood and emotional resilience. But the cost of that process is that the experiences generated during it don't get properly stamped into autobiographical memory. Now add the second problem, the transition out of sleep. When you wake up, your brain doesn't instantly snap back to full wakefulness. It transitions. And the first few seconds of that transition are chaotic, different brain systems coming back online at different speeds. During those seconds, whatever dream content was in your working memory starts competing with the immediate demands of waking reality. The light, the sound, your phone, the awareness of where you are and what day it is. All of that floods in, and it floods out the fragile traces of the dream at exactly the same time. There is a specific phenomenon researchers have identified here. If you move your body within the first 30 seconds of waking, the physical movement accelerates the transition out of the sleep state and actively speeds up the forgetting. The people who remember their dreams most reliably are the ones who lie completely still for a few minutes after waking, eyes still closed, letting the dream images consolidate before anything else intrudes. The moment you reach for your phone, sit up, or start thinking about the day, the window closes. This also explains why you sometimes remember a dream in vivid detail immediately after waking, then lose it completely an hour later. What you had right after waking was a fragile short-term trace, the neurological equivalent of text written in water. Without a quiet consolidation period, without repeatedly running through the details while they're still accessible, that trace dissolves. Not gradually, abruptly. The memory doesn't fade. It ceases to exist in a retrievable form. Then there's the question of why some people seem to remember their dreams almost every night, while others almost never do. This is a real, documented difference, and it comes down to several factors. One of them is how often you wake up during the night. People who are naturally light sleepers, or who wake briefly multiple times, have more opportunities to catch themselves transitioning out of REM. And those transitions are the windows when dream recall is possible. Deep, uninterrupted sleepers may be cycling through multiple full REM episodes with no waking periods in between, and by morning, all of it is gone. Another factor is how much you care about remembering. This sounds strange, but it has solid backing. People who keep dream journals, who write down whatever fragments they can access the moment they wake up, report remembering their dreams far more frequently over time. The act of prioritizing dream recall, of training yourself to pause and reach for those fragments before doing anything else, appears to actually improve your ability to access them. Your brain learns what matters to you through attention and repetition. If you consistently pay attention to dream content in the first moments of waking, the system appears to make that content slightly more accessible over time. There's also a neurological factor in who is naturally a dream recaller versus not. Research comparing people who frequently remember dreams to those who rarely do has found measurable differences in activity in a brain region called the temporoparietal junction, an area involved in self-awareness and the distinction between internal and external stimuli. People with higher activity here tend to be more reactive to sounds and stimuli during sleep, waking briefly more often, and appear to have more efficient access to dream content during those brief awakenings. This may be a stable individual difference in brain architecture, not something you can easily change, though the journaling effect suggests that habit and attention can compensate for some of what biology doesn't automatically provide. So here is the full picture of why you wake up, and the dream is already gone. You spent the last hour or two generating experiences so vivid they felt indistinguishable from reality. You did this using a brain that deliberately suppressed the chemical systems needed to turn those experiences into lasting memory. You then transitioned back to wakefulness in a chaotic neurological sequence where incoming reality competed directly with the fading dream traces. And if you moved, checked your phone, or started thinking about anything else within the first minute, you closed the only window that existed for saving any of it. The dream was real, the experience was happening. Your brain just wasn't equipped to file it, by design, and the small window to save it manually closed before you knew it existed. This is also why the dreams you do remember tend to be the ones that happened right before you woke up. Closest in time to consciousness, caught in the narrow gap between sleep and wakefulness, where the suppressed recording system had the best chance of catching something. The ones before that? They happened. They were vivid. You were there for all of them. You just had no way to bring them back with you.